Alrighty, everybody. Got ourselves a little video right here by City 3382. They make guides on War Commander. And the current video we're about to react to is how bad is the game right now? This video was uploaded about a week ago, and I'm curious to hear what his thoughts are on the current game state. Because as a returning player who still is on and off, I want to know what someone who's been in the community for quite a while says about the game and whether or not I agree with him. Because let's be honest, I love for one reason. A lot of things, you know, I'll explain more in the video if he discusses it. But let's jump in.
Yo, what's going down, Commander? Sad day today, really. This discussion needs to happen sooner or later, and Kickstarter need to start listening a little bit, I feel. I've watched God knows how many people threaten to quit the game over the last 3 or 4 days, purely because of this event and the way they've structured it, the way they've made us use basically five units total, if you include the heroes. Two of the units in the orbiters and the Mojave don't do nothing to the bases. So it's left down to the moon skaters and the hero marina and the meteor storm. The sandstorm Mark II hasn't been relevant for a few events now. It needed buffing at least, and the same with the Rhino X. And it's I don't understand why Kickstarter are just doubling down on this. It's obvious that the player base is pretty upset. The player base isn't happy with the way things are going, especially with the retaliation event. That's just as bad as this event now.
Alright, so first thing that I want to say before we go deeper into this is that if I'm not mistaken, Sandstorm and Rhino, they're pretty dated currently. Because if I remember correctly, it's like I actually don't even remember when. It's been so long since they got buffed that I don't even think they were honestly worth using. Like, sure, they were once good, but at the same time, it's War Commander we're talking about. It's not like you can hold on to those units for quite a while. But as for like Moonskaters and Orbiters, I can't really say much about that. Rhino and Sandstorm, however, Sandstorm, I don't have Elite 2, but I'm pretty sure that one's already getting dated. For one, it's an air unit. That those things fall like paper. And second one is Rhino. That thing was able to stand on its own for quite a while. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that thing would have been dead way sooner, but it had some pretty nice mechanics to it, I'll admit.
But it's like doubling down on it. It's kind of making the event suck in the hopes that people just coin the stuff. And I have seen a bunch of people coining the new unit, the Fox Hand, is it called? Lady Hand, something like that. I've seen people coining it. They're posting it, showing off about it. But that can't be a lot of money earned through people just coining it for the sake of it. Um, Pushing players away from the game, making people say, "Well, I can't do it. I haven't got this unit leveled, or I haven't got this unit. My units ain't high enough level, so they ain't putting enough effort into it." And when they done that, we've changed the what are the name of the bases? Is it the recruits? We've changed the recruit bases. We've made them easier, but they didn't tell us that they made the officer bases slightly harder. What? Where do they get off doing this shit, pulling this shit? I've got no issues with them doing things and telling people, but when they do things and they don't say anything and they think we're stupid, that's when there's a problem. You know, no one in their right mind is going to, well, maybe a couple of players are going to hit the recruit bases over and over and over and over and over again. God knows how many times. I think it's going to be 80, 90 times before you've bought everything in the store. And then to up the officer base, you're not giving players a chance.
Alright, first thing I want to mention, regarding all that, I'm not gonna lie, the event format is horrendous. I don't know why we gotta go through sit through like, alright, Spark Group's already a rampant thing that's occurred throughout War Commander's history, and then the base format, it just makes it worse. Because, like, for one, you have, like, what, 5, 6 bases for the players to do? And if you're not cut up, those six bases is not gonna be enough for you. And then you're gonna have to hit those bases back to back to back over and over again. And like, there's Q&A that came out recently and talking about the grind. And if I'm being completely honest, a grind, the grind with the tracks 1 through 12 and the faction track, those are pretty much fine. Those were honestly, it wasn't mind numbing. You went through different bases, you actively did things. You weren't going to like one base, oh, it's the same base, you hit it. Go to another base, oh, it's the same base, you hit it. You actually were actually doing something. And you had like 12 different things to hit. Maybe, well, yeah, 12 because you also had like the defense stages, so the other ones were in the faction track. You actually had stuff to do. You actually were able to hit bases, hit those bases with enjoyment. Didn't feel like you're on repetition because let's be honest, hitting the same base like 4 times, it's already mind numbing. And then you have to do like 90 sets just to get what you want. And if you're a new player, yeah, you're cooked. If you want skins, there's no point in going through all that extra stuff because skins are so heavily priced for no reason.
You keep saying you're here because of the players, but everything that Kickside touch, everything Kickside do, just of late, just over this last 6 months, maybe 8 months, has been detrimental to the players.
All right, now hold on a second. All right, I'm gonna let him cook real quick because I'm going to admit they haven't done nearly as bad as what they've done in the past few years. But I'm gonna hear him out.
You know, we had a good event, Sector Breach, where they introduced a unit that turns out to be a lot of fun. And now they're pulling this shit.
All right, Sector Breach. Yeah, it's literally the same thing as all the other events. I'm not gonna lie. If it shows the same format, it has pretty much the same requirements. Like, oh, you only have this certain amount of units to use. You're going up against this base. There's a reason why they have the 50% or however much reduction. It's not balanced. If I'm being completely honest, the events aren't balanced around like your units, your actual units, and how you can use them. They're balanced around the healing reduction that you get from them, and so things can be done free repairs. Some of because let's be honest, when the Sector Breach skirmish first came out, it was a massacre for our platoons, and then they had to bring in the permanent repair reduction that pretty much goes on during those events, and it's rough. I'm gonna admit it is rough. And then you got the mind-numbing grind on top of them. Holy! Like, I get they need money, but I'm pretty sure a well-balanced game. All right, before I go into that deeper into, I'm gonna let him continue because there's a lot that I can break down involving the balance of the game. Because when you have a large selection of units that you can use, you can also have like a large variety of pretty much units you can use in the enemy bases, such as, well, I can't really give an example right now, but they pretty much are able to make certain units just straight up roll some of our units. And when we only have like 5, 6 units to use, yeah, those is rough when you have to use like those 5, 6 units that you can use. Half of them are like trash. Let's be honest, half of those are trash. And so when they remove like that one good unit, it becomes a nightmare from that point on, and you don't have like an alternative at all. It's just a nightmare fest.
I'm so glad I don't put them. Well, I try not to put the coin in I used to. Can't justify it no more.
I'm not gonna lie, it was never justified. But that's just me. Coining in this game was never justified. Like maybe before, no, I'd say coining would have been justified until Series 4. Series 4 afterwards, rough. It was rough.
I cannot justify what kicks I do into this game. Do you know what? I ain't even done this event properly, and I don't think I'm gonna. I didn't
Fair.
buy the Mojave. I think it's the Mojave store. I didn't buy the Mohalf tokens. I'll do it next event, main event. I'll get the Mohalf
Okay,
tokens. I'll
so let's
take it to
skirmish.
20. Me air hanger isn't even maxed out. I've left that.
Okay, so since this is a skirmish he's talking about, okay, that is, I will admit, is pretty justified. Well, yeah, it is pretty justified because holy cow, same critique that I give for all the other events. Too much repetition. Like it's good that you can repeat all them, good you can do them at the same time. However, it is such a nightmare to just sit through those three bases over and over and over again. Like I can't even grind just for one unit because I don't have enjoyment doing that. I had more enjoyment during Generation 3 when everything was more like you can get your units no matter what it was. You could get like a Gen 2 unit, get a Gen 3 unit. All those still worked. And you were able to still like do things with them and it wasn't like a painful grind at all either. You wouldn't just like a game should be fun and not feel like a chore or like another 9 to 5 job on top of a 9 to 5 job that you're already doing. So like why is this game feeling like why does this game feel like you have to invest so much time just for that investment to not have a very good payoff in the end? It's just extremely rough to see how we went from Generation 3, where you could use like a whole arsenal, into Generation 4, where it just completely obliterated anything before that. Series 1, where literally everything in Series 1 was obliterating itself before the next series began. Like, it is insane.
It's why? Why the Kickside just constantly they introduce something good and then they take it away instead of improving on what they've got. They try to make it worse, and
Oh,
it's not worse. It's worse in the way it's drawn out. It's more drawn out. It's more of a grind, and
true,
then they make it more of a grind and more of a
true,
grind until the point the players are just going, well, fuck this game. I'm walking away.
true.
I've seen it must be 30 or 40 people. I know a lot of people say they're going to quit and then they don't really, but when you're seeing that many in one event over my page and the Facebook page and the Discord server, you got to question that if there's 30 there, how many more people have done it without saying anything?
All right. So between the timeline that I've mentioned, Generation 3 to like series, Generation 3, that stuff was fire. I ain't gonna lie. Generation 3 got a whole lot of stuff going on. Generation 4, whole lot of bad went on, and it just kept getting worse. And so it wasn't just like now where it was happening. It happened a long time ago. It happened a long time ago, and a lot of them still have not returned back because, as you can always see, like what you're complaining about right now, uh, player base is falling off. People complaining, the usual. And so, what's been like, I'm pretty sure a lot of the people that still play are just like just now realizing why people have left. Why? Because you wouldn't want to play a game where it's like you're being held hostage just to do something. When you play a game, you play to have fun, and when you have so much fun in a game, you start spending. Which is why the PvP events way back then you'd see like whole sectors going up against each other. You'd see a whole lot of stuff, and now it's like empty. Like, what is it? A fight? All the people left, and they lost the joy. There's no balance. It's like the pendulum swinging left and right 24/7 at this point, instead of like one side for a while, one side to another. But it shouldn't be like that. It should be balanced. I feel like every base is different. Every type of tactic is viable in some type of way, depending on how things are set up. But that's not there right now. And with how balancing goes, a good balanced game could probably bring back a whole lot of those people where they don't see huge increments in HP jumps or huge increments in damage jumps. Because, like, you need expect then you could use multiple at once. They didn't get flattened like sandpaper or cardboard, whatever. You saw, you see, like, something like Perseus, something like War Barge. Who uses those two units? Those things died instantly. And what is Krug? Like, holy, those you like. Okay, so unique's supposed to be unique. the only unique thing about those things was that they died instantly.
Gone, right, I've had enough. They're not doing anything for the players. They're rinsing the coiners off at this point. That's all they're doing, is rinsing what's left in the game. And hopefully these guys don't stop coining because they've put so much money into it. They feel like they have to continue putting money into
Okay, so this is okay. Hold up, let him
it.
cook.
And Kicks Eye ain't going to change while people keep just fucking flooding the coffers with coins. You know, they think they're onto a right thing. They are in a bit of a panic. You can tell they're in a bit of a panic. The way they put some more stuff into the event prize store in the hopes it might draw a few more players into playing it. Over the past couple of weeks, they've been trying to change things on the fly. It shouldn't need to be changed on the fly. This should have been tested and retested and gone, right, is this okay? Is this, are people
Okay, hold
going
up.
to enjoy this or are they going to walk away, stop playing? I know I've played some very little over this weekend. I've actually been playing another game.
Okay, so let me break down that point real quick. I'm assuming it's the base weakness stuff that he's implying about. Uh, I gotta admit, that's not actually a bad system. And like the systems that have been added have actually been pretty interesting. They can help curb a lot of the issues that I bring up. However, I gotta say, I feel like this one just falls flat. Cause like, all right, so the product that or mechanic feature that they push out is something new, and sure they've tested it, okay, but you also have to get the player's feedback. It may look good on their end, but how does the player feel about this mechanic? And if they don't get it right the first time, they can keep working on it and make it a better product, make it a better feature for the overall player, and also make it a whole lot more of an enjoyable experience in the long term. However, this can backfire, but I have not seen this backfire on them because so far the implementations I've seen so far have not been horrendous. And as for the coining, if you're coining because you think you have to coin, yeah, you're cooked. I ain't gonna lie. There's if you think if a company if a company deserves your money, heck, give it to them. But if a company does not give you the satisfaction that you require from a game, if you think they're heading into a negative direction, don't coin. It's just that simple. Why do you have to feel like no? Who is pressuring you to coin? Like, holy, there's no reason. Like, you can still play the game without coining, but if you just coin, you're just telling the devs, yeah, what you're doing is working. When they do something good, reward them by coining. If they do something bad, hey, just stop just stop giving them money. It's just that easy. However, if the devs do something good and they manage to keep going on doing that good thing, keep spending. Because let's be honest, spending helps them. It's a free game, but free, even though it's free, and even though you can spend in it, it doesn't have to be this grindy. We've seen in the past how events are. Whatever this state is right now, it is not it. Whatever it was back then, between like Legacy, where everything was like pretty much on an even playing field. Surprisingly, you got elite riflemen, elite heavy gunners, skins, what was it, workshops. Everything was like somehow viable, still able to compete with like the event units. What we have right now is just constant creeping going on, and a lot of the stuff needs to be on an even playing field. Because even if it's on an even playing field, as long as the unit comes out unique in some type of way, or becomes beneficial, niche, whatever, people will spend on it. Even if the event is like probably BS. Because let's be honest, one bad event versus like 10 good events, it won't be too much of a bother. Unless they make like 50 more bad events, which is currently the route we're in.
Show you here. I've been playing this one, Hell's a Torment. It was released in 1997, I think.
What are we talking about?
It's a fucking lot of fun. It cost me about $3 on Steam. $3, and I've played it fucking probably over the last 3 days, probably 24 hours or so. Because I can't, I just hate the thought of facing this fucking game and facing this event where it's just restricting us after restricting us after restricting us. Used to be three units plus their heroes we could use.
All right. So what I want to point out is that restricting isn't bad. Restricting allows you to come up with something creative. However, that creativity can get restricted when you're restricted to literally a whole lot of nothing. For example, retaliation. You have one unique. What can you do against one unique with one unique when you have like 4 or 5 different types of enemies on the field? You got turrets, you got buildings. Those are already going to be doing a lot to you. They got a different typing. Oh yeah, weapon armor typing, that stuff factors into it as well. One unique is not going to help you at all. And, well, maybe. I don't know. I've missed out quite a bit so far. But the Spec Ops, again, shouldn't be the thing that just steamrolls the event. You should have at least like 2 or 3 uniques, help with the typing, help with each other. Because then when you have 3 uniques, you have 3 units that you don't have to worry about like phasing out instantly. If you have one unique, they phase out real quick because you only can use pretty much one unique because odds are at the rate of how uniques are released, they're going to be obsolete. But if they make it so that all the uniques are somehow viable, A, you got more choices. And depending on the enemy, you can choose whatever unique you want to use.
In these events. Now,
And then as for the skirmish and well yeah, as for skirmish, that one's rough. I'm not gonna lie. When you got units that are like vehicle, 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 is rough, especially when they have like different purposes, niche, and then on top of that, you also have to factor in that it also limits them from making like support units. Because let's be honest, the support unit can only buff the ones that do damage or some other function. But a support unit isn't exactly going to carry through all that. But we've seen in the past, support units are actually great for the game state, such as Caretaker and Bishop. You had a lot of stuff going on with them. However, if they are able to like switch things up involving skirmish, where you can use like well, if they don't just release vehicle, 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 air, 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 infantry, 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 because like all those things are just competing against each other. They're not competing against anything else. They're not spread out. They just climb, 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 and damage because they're all DPS for some reason. They need to be supported well. They need to be like hybrids, something niche, anything like that. They don't have to have like generalist damage.
have its 2 units plus their heroes plus Meteor Strike. I'm not going to include Rhino X or the Sandstorm because they weren't. I've not used them at all in this
Should have.
event, so I can't say that there was any use of them whatsoever because Kickstarter don't want to keep them up to date. They don't want to make sure that these
True.
units are still valuable in these events. All
True.
they want to do is create damage for us players, and,
What?
and in my opinion, way too much damage, and just continue to follow through with this plan.
Okay, so it's not them trying to create damage, it's them not realizing how bad the power creep is. Because again, DPS, 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 vehicle, vehicle, vehicle. It's just a constant backlog into one thing. It's rough. And then to top it off, if you're expecting anything to last after what you've seen from like Series 1, Series 2, Series 3, all of that stuff, where you have like units just straight up outclassing the other series or other generations, or literally just other units in their own series, or then you have Akuma where it just literally kills everything, then it's kind of, kind of odd to be just why why are you why are you expecting them to not at some point kill those units off? Like it would be great if they didn't kill them off and kept everything at a level field. Holy,
Of destroying their own creation. Well, it ain't their own creation, sorry. It's been told twice. The game that they bought for 90 million plus US dollars. They paid fucking a lot of money for it to destroy it. And since
I'm not gonna lie, I missed Storm chasing.
a friend, not yeah, friendly fixer come into the picture, it's gone from worse to fucking even worse.
All right, all right, hold up. That's a lot to unpack. Does he say anything more about this?
Every step that he said he was going to do, he hasn't followed through with, or he has partially. He said there was improvements coming to PvP. There was improvements to this. He's got an idea for a new event that's a bust. I'm sorry, but retaliation is a bust.
Oh,
Swallow your pride and go, okay, right, this isn't fucking what I had envisioned, and revert back. Revert back to Holdout. Improve on what you've got in Holdout.
okay. So if I'm not mistaken, think around December or January, Friendly Fixer dropped out a message and was like, pretty much giving us a whole roadmap. Something we never see from like the community. From like we never see a roadmap of what's to come. And so what has already come that he's mentioned: base weaknesses, retaliation, and I'm gonna admit I might have to review that that sheet again because I'm gonna admit a lot of the stuff I didn't really care about. Just really those two things along with a few others, but those are also coming down the line. We got the PvP that they mentioned that it's going to be worked on during the summer, if I remember correctly, and then we have the what is it called? Uh, base saves, base loadouts, those things. Yeah, base saves. But we're getting those later down the line as well. They got like a lot of stuff coming, and we just have to give them time and also critique them well enough for the improvements that they can make and not just go bam bam bam, this thing sucks, this thing sucks. We gotta show them, we gotta tell them why it sucks and what can be improved upon it rather than just saying, oh, this thing's bad, oh, that thing's bad. It's just like all this stuff going on, yeah, it is bad. However, if we don't really have anything constructive to say, it doesn't help anyone at all. People end up just hating the game more. People still just end up playing the game despite hating the game more. Got the devs that just continue doing what they're doing. We gotta like give helpful feedback. Don't just say this thing is bad and then stop there. Why is it bad? How can it be improved? How does this benefit the players? And how does this also benefit the company where the benefit isn't too heavily sided on the players, but also saves the company itself? Because let's be honest, free game, they have to make money somehow.
Which players adored. And it seems like any event that the players enjoy, Kickstarter are looking for ways to get rid of it so they can put something in place that no one likes.
With this, I'm gonna be honest. Holdout, that was a great event. I'm not gonna like Holdout. I love that. I love that. But I think the direction that Holdout went with the was it defensive uniques? No, not defensive uniques. Guardians. I don't think that was it. I don't think that was it. Guardians was not the move for obvious reasons. Because where we know we're holdoutless. I think Holdout was way better when it gave like the Diamond Tech or paints. You could actually get things there. Like if you couldn't get the stuff in a regular event, you'd be able to get in Holdout. And if you didn't have like crazy stuff, you'd be able to pretty much bring up your own power level just by playing Holdout. And even though it didn't really require that much brain to do, you still had fun to do. You still had fun. You were able to go through it smoothly without issue, which could arguably say cost the company a bit. However, you have a happy fan, you have a your player base loving it. They're enjoying themselves with this event that they get to do once a month. Because let's be honest, Hero Showdown, it was like hit or miss, but it was a nice way to obtain heroes. And then you got, ooh, what was that other one? Invasion, defense. Man, I would really love a defense event. I'm really craving. I'm always craving defense in this game. Ever since I started playing this game, it's just defense. Give me defense. But there's like barely any defense content anymore. I don't know why we're like there's so many aspects in this game that they could use. Holdout, great aspect. And then you got defense, another great aspect. And we're not using this. We got a whole lot of like mechanics that we can use. A whole lot of different. There's so much variety that can be in this game, and we just take the things that make this game great. We just like take bits and pieces of it over and over again. Like if I'm not mistaken, recently we started or recently they started bringing in the more variety into the bases during the main events, but it's like still only few bases that you can really do, and so it's like, come on now. But it's good to see that they're starting to listen in that regard, and I hope they're able to find a system that works out for both the players and them, because I don't want to. I do not want to be on the same base for like 30 minutes just to get like one unit. Yeah, I'm good. I enjoy metal farming and Shadow Ops farming a whole lot more than Sector Breach, Skirmish, and the main event combined. And it's a shame because I honestly like the main event before they changed it up. It's rough.
It's a sorry state of affairs, and it's just only going to get worse because we've got people at the helm that really don't understand the real time strategy game. They've got no clue. And that's the God's honest truth. They've got no clue. And it's such a shame. It really is. Because at the principal, I had some fun.
I wouldn't say that they have no clue, but more so they don't know how to balance or make units. Because once again, it goes back to the DPS, the release of units, the timeline, and all that stuff. You got things power creeping everything in an instant. You got DPS outpowering DPS, outpowering DPS. It's like, come on now. And then it's like, what? How long do these units take if you don't exactly have the time to go for the logistics? By the time you max out a unit, if you're like a casual player, you're not you're not exactly you're not gonna be doing much. Like if there was a tier list of showing like the units at their best worst in like the past year, it's not gonna look good, especially for the uniques. Those poor uniques.
Fun last week playing with them Moonies. And then I had fun up until Friday. Once this event started, and I watched the guys doing the event over the live stream, and I was like, "Oh my days, this is going to be fucking horrible." Because the units that they're giving us to play these events, none of them are very good. They've got their uses, very limited uses, but they're not good units. You're not going out, you're not using them in your PvP. You might use one Moonscaper in your PvP to get the uncloak. You're not using them. They're not a spam unit. Same with the orbiters. They've got literally no use in the game. So maybe in your sky.
I wouldn't say they have no use, but more so they have their own use. Because with the what's it called? The typing. With the typing system that they brought in, it brings more strategy into it. Because as you were mentioning before, uh, said they weren't familiar with RTS, and typing is honestly one of those features that is in those types of games, if I'm not mistaken. And basically, with the moon skaters and orbiters, they will be sufficient against certain things way better than any other unit, such as Lancers, for example. When I saw those things, I saw that I actually had one in my inventory because I didn't realize that they had one for free. Uh, I was playing around with those. I'll admit those were actually interesting because they blew up buildings. Oh, they blew up buildings, all right. But you look at a unit with a Lancer. Ooh. You might as well be flicking the enemy at that point because that shell is bouncing off their forehead. Like that thing did no damage to units, but buildings, those things get leveled instantly. That's great. I love that. And we need a whole lot more of that. But first I want to see more support units, more hybrids, more niche units rather than generalists, pure DPS.
Oh God, that's it. It's bonkers. It really is bonkers. And they just keep doing it, regurgitating junk after junk after junk. The same unit with a different name. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there,
Yeah,
guys. I needed to have this rant. I feel
I will admit, what was it pylons? Yeah, you remember that what was it Gen 3 unique from Sentinels? You went bowling with it, Prophet. Yeah, that was literally just pylon as corpus unit. Sure got an A feature, but generally speaking, this is literally just a Prophet as a unit. Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
sorry for the guys that have had enough. I think a lot of us are. I know I've taken a slight step back and gone right. I've got to find something else to do. I've got to find something else to play to do with my time.
Hey, I know some games. If you want some interesting games to play, just hit me up. I got some bangers that you would love.
Rather than play this, all I did with this event basically, I put a couple of videos out, but I ran the units into the base. If I got three or four run throughs or three or four of one base, I sent them back to me. Excuse me, my base. I hit repair and I logged off and I went and played something else. So they're not making me want to play for longer. They're making me want to play for less. And if I
I'm not gonna lie, this is completely subjective. Well, if you've been playing this game as it's continuing to go down a negative direction, that's crazy work. Because me personally, I had to get away from this. I could not go on any longer. Sure, I'll upgrade stuff, but even with upgrading, sometimes I don't want to even touch the game. But if they continue to somehow bring improvements, they somehow bring in a support unit, I will touch this game 24/7 like I used to. Because this game, holy cow, the concept, the overall concept, the gameplay, it is great. But when you have a poor execution of that concept, it's rough. I still think that increased range on units was a nightmare and should never have been done. Because let's be honest, 700 is insane. 700 plus is insane.
can spam a tune into the base, I'll do that all day long. Spam it in, let it repair for a couple of hours, go do something else. I'm not wasting my time on this fucking game 24/7.
Shouldn't even have to. Like, it's a game. Just play when you want to. It's not a 9 to 5 job.
PvP's a lot of fun at the minute. They need to change some bits
Hasn't
in
been
it.
fun.
But with the Unis, we're having fun. Why can't they reproduce that in the main events?
It's because it's repetitive. How do you have fun doing the same thing over and over and over again? Like, if there were a variety of bases that you could just like choose from, go through it all, add modifiers to it, do whatever. It literally could be the same base. You add modifiers to it, you change up the experience, boom, literally done. Don't even have to do anything else. It's just that simple. But when you have same base doing the same set 90 times, hey, hope those obsolete units do you good later on.
Anyway, rant
If
over.
it's even
I
useful.
don't know how you guys feel, but it's disgusting in my opinion. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.
All right. So overall, I'd say they hit some pretty solid points with a lot of the stuff I have complaints with. However, at the same time, some of them, some of those points they were pretty rough. I ain't gonna lie. But City 3382, I'm gonna give you a like on this video because it was able to bring out a lot of the issues that were present in the game. I wish it went into more details with like overall with the game, like power creep, but events work too. But we got PvP state, events, power creep, units, units overall design. Yeah, we got a whole lot of stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I could go on for hours with all this stuff because like I think I went on a 40-minute rant in the older video. Anyway, thumbs up from me. I'll let you guys know what you think about all this. And yeah, I think that's all. To be honest, it's pretty solid all around. Had some issues, but I can overlook it for now. Peace.